Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. In today's episode we have phishing emails 4. So we did 1, 2, 3 and now we're going to carry on with phishing emails 4. In this room we'll have a lot of new concepts being introduced, so please pay attention. There are various actions a defender can take to help protect the users from falling victim to a malicious email. Some examples of these actions are listed below. Email security, which this room is heavily focused on, such as SPF, DKIM, and DMARC, spam filters, email labels, email addresses, domain URL blocking, attachment blocking, attachment sandboxing, and security awareness training. Per Mitre attack framework, phishing is classified as technique 1598 and it contains 3 sub-techniques. So, first question of the day is, what is the Mitre ID for software configuration? You don't even need to Google it, your answer will be right here. Moving on, Sender Policy Framework or SPF. SPF is used to authenticate the sender of an email. With an SPF record in place, internet service providers can verify that a mail server is authorized to send email for a specific domain. An SPF record is a DNA text record containing a list of the IP addresses that are allowed to send email on behalf of your domain. Right? So we get here a nice little graph. So you have the sender here that wants to send an email. The email lands into the sending organization's email server. Then it transfers to the recipient's email server. Then it gets sent to the sending organization's DNA server. It looks for published SPF records. Then it goes through a process of authentication. In case if it fails, then it's going to get rejected. If authentication goes through and it's a pass, we'll see DKIM pass and so on and so forth. Then it goes through a reputation database and then into the recipient's inbox. So what does a SPF record look like? Pretty much this line right here. So an explanation would be V equals FPF1. This is the start of your SPF record. This is an IPv4 address that can send a mail. Include spf.google.com. This specifies which domain can send mail, and all non-authorized emails will be rejected. Please remember this. If you like to go more in-depth in SPF record syntax, you can follow these links here. What we're looking at right here is a picture of an SPF record analyzed. The Martian has a tremendous resource, and they go in depth about SPF, DKIM. So if you're interested in that, by all means, please visit their webpage. The above image shows the status of an SPF record check. It reports back as Softail. So if you can see here, SPF Softail with IP unknown, DKIM fail with domain unknown, and DMARC none. This image is from Google Admin Toolbox message header, which we encountered in the last room, which was used to analyze a malicious email. So what is the best SPF rule if you wish to ensure the domain sends no email at all? No mail at all, sorry. So we look here, it is all, right? Non-authorized emails will be rejected. And what is the meaning of the all tag? Which is fail, right? What is DKIM? Per the Martian, DKIM stands for Domain Keys Identified Mail and is used for authentication of an email that's being sent. Like SPF, DKIM is an open standard for email authentication that is used for DMARC alignment. A DKIM record exists in DNS, but is a bit more complicated than SPF. DKIM's advantage is that it can survive forwarding, which makes it superior to SPF and a foundation for securing your email. So we have here a cute little picture with a DKIM record. You see the first line here, it represents the version of the DKIM record, and then K, that stands for key, equals RSA. This is the key type. The default is set to RSA. RSA is an encryption algorithm, which we talked about before. And P, this is the public key that will have to be matched with the private key, which was created during the DKIM setup process. Hopefully you didn't forget about authentication, right? Perfect. The below image is a snippet of an image header for a flagged email as spam that contained a potentially malicious attachment. So as we can see, we see here received from an IP address, return path. This is where the replies would go. Bogus email that's supposed to be Amazon, supposedly, right? Originating IP, received SPF none. Authentication results, very important here. DKIM pass gives you the header here. SPF equals none. SMTP mail from that bogus email, and DMARC unknown. So the question is, which email header shows the status whether DKIM passed or failed? So it is authentication results as shown in the picture. Now moving on to DMARC. Domain-based message authentication and reporting and conformance, an open source standard, use a concept called alignment to tie the results of two open source standards, SPF and DKIM, to the content of an email. If not already deployed, putting a DMARC record into place for your domain will give you the feedback that would allow you to troubleshoot your SPF and DKIM configurations if needed. So what does a DMARC record looks like? V equals DMARC1, P equals quarantine, RUA equals mail to postmaster@website.com. If a check fails, P equal quarantine means if a check fails, the email will be sent to the spam folder and aggregate reports will be sent to this email address. Additional resources for DMARC over there. Domain health checkers, so they have their own website basically where you can check your domain and see if your email domain is protected against phishing, spoofing, or fraud. As we can see, they ran Microsoft.com here, and it says that it is protected. So good job. Quick thing to do for you would be to go on DMARC's website and check google.com. I have done it before. It's pretty funny the result that you'll get, but if you want to have a laugh, please go ahead and do that. Microsoft passed all checks. We can drill down into DMARC, SPF, and DKIM for more details. So we see here an example right here. In the details above, we can see that all emails that fail DMARC check will be rejected, right? That's what we just previously said. So which DMARC policy would you use not to accept an email if the message fails the DMARC check? So if you go to the additional resources here for the Martian, you will be able to see that P equals reject would be the answer to this question. SMIME, Secure Multipurpose Internet Mail Extensions, is a widely accepted protocol for sending digitally signed and encrypted messages. As you can tell from the definition above, the two main ingredients are digital signatures and encryption. Using public key cryptography, SMIME guarantees data integrity and non-repudiation. Alrighty, so how does this work? How does SMIME work? So Bob wants to send an email to Mary. Bob sends the email initially in a plain text, then he encrypts it with his private key Then the email becomes a ciphertext, right? Now that it is encrypted with his private key. Then he uses his public key to get back to plain text. So in order for Mary to receive it. So they refer to the they do say refer to the Microsoft documentation here for more SMIME and steps on how to configure Office 365, blah blah blah. So they're asking you, what is non-repudiation? The answer is a full sentence. So if you look at the document right here, non-repudiation, the uniqueness of a signature prevents the owner of the signature from disowning the signature. That will be your flag right there. Moving on to SMTP status codes. Let's start the machine in the meantime. In this task, you'll examine a PCAP file with SMTP traffic. You'll only focus on SMTP codes in this task. You must be familiar with Wireshark and packet analysis to answer the questions below. And they give you 2 additional resources that we can take a look at real quick. So here is Wireshark, some type of SMTP code, how you can filter the field name on SMTP and what kind of options can you use. So while the VM is loading, we can see here that some of the things that will be of use would be SMTP, I believe, message to filter out SMTP messages, SMTP response code, SMTP response. What else? Data fragments, SMTP command line, auth username, SMTP auth password. This is basically a cheat sheet that is going to help you out in completing the room. So in the meantime, let's just wait for the VM to load so we can analyze that PCAP traffic, and then we'll move forward to task 7. Let's take another quick peek at some of these filters here. Pretty sure we'll have to start filtering just by SMTP. We'll have to take a look once this thing is loaded up. And boom. Alrighty, so let's hop on into the terminal. Wireshark. No, maybe it's really slow. You can also find Wireshark in tools. Where are the tools? In case CLI doesn't work. Oh, it did work. Okie doke, so you don't have to capture. Wireshark is an awesome tool to analyze traffic, by the way. In case you're not familiar with it, it's a super awesome tool. You can look at the IP addresses. You can look at layer 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can look at all these layers. You can analyze the information. It is a super awesome tool. If you haven't heard about it, or if you're not used to using any tool such as Wireshark, I highly recommend you to go ahead and play with it a little bit. I think it was in desktop, right? Alrighty, so here we have our traffic.pcap file. Basically, this is some network traffic that was captured, and Wireshark gives us the ability to analyze these packets. So let's do the first question. that asks you what Wireshark filter can you use to narrow down the packet output using SMTP status codes. So we'll just start with SMTP because that's what they were asking for to begin with, right? Alrighty, so we go all the way down. So all of these messages here, they're SMTP messages, right? So in order to narrow down our packets, we put in smtp.response and it will auto-populate for you. Select response code, hit enter, and you get different results. So per the network traffic, what was the message for status code 220? So we'll have to scroll a little bit. And keep going to see status 220, which is domain. Let's see. So this would be layer 2, layer 3. 1 second. Temporary failure, mail exchange, do not include. Yeah, so it was domain service ready. So there are a bunch of 220s here. This one gets you the response code as well. Domain service ready 220. Once a packet shows a response that an email was blocked using spamhouse.org, what were the packing number and status code? So I think this is it. This is it right here. Packet number 156. The response was 553. Email blocked using spamhouse.org. Based on the packet from the previous question, what was the message regarding the mailbox? Mailbox name not allocated. As you can see right here, requested action not taken. Mailbox name not allowed 553. What is the status code that will typically proceed at SMTP data command? I'll save you the effort here. It's 364. But if you want to use the hint, they do tell you the server is now waiting for the body of the message. Okie dokes. So moving on to task number 7. In this task, you'll move beyond SMTP codes and analyze trivial SMTP traffic. The reference below may assist you with this task. So we open another Wireshark cheat sheet, if you want to call it. This time it's regarding IMF, which is Internet Message Format. So what port is SMTP traffic using? It is port 25. How many packets are specifically SMTP? So if you just SMTP, and then there should be 512. If you look right here, displayed 512. What is the source IP address for all SMTP traffic? So they are asking you for the source, which is 10.12.19.101, as we can see in this packet right here in the layer 2. What is the file name of the third file attachment? So let's see, 1, 2, 3. Let's see. Maybe let's filter by IMF. One, two, three. Let's see, Unicode, return mail data. One sec. Let's reuse SMTP. And let's go back to the top. Or were they talking about, I think they were talking about just the entire capture, right? Yep, I think they were talking about the entire packet capture. No? Flags, options. Alrighty, looks like we're back. We had a little malfunction with Wireshark. So we needed to do the last two questions. So what is the file name of the third file attachment? So you filter imf.content.type, or you can still do it using just the SMTP. It's just going to be a little while until you get to this Unicode subject return mail packet. So in this packet, you're going to navigate. I'll show you right here. So IMF, right, because that's what we're filtering for, is going to be in the IMF field. We're going to scroll down all the way to encapsulated multipart, and you will get here content disposition attachment, because is that what we're looking for, attachment.scr. And they're also asking about the last packet, which is supposed to be a zip file, .zip, right? Perfect. So now that we got that out of the way, we can move on to SMTP and CC communication. Now we'll take a look at how SMTP has been abused by adversaries for C2 command and control, aka botnets, aka insert whatever you want. Please go to this link right here. It does tell you about various techniques that have been used and all kind of examples, including Zebrosi right here, which hint forget about that, hint is going to be your flag right here. So per meter attack, which software is associated with using SMTP POP3 for C2 communications? And if we look here, SMTP and POP3 for C2, simple search, you get your flag right there. So in conclusion, they give you a playbook here. Super cool if you want to actually like save this PDF. It gives you all the steps. It's from incidentresponse.com. Super cool playbook here that you can go through, save it if you're in the cybersecurity field. If not, you can just browse through it and just get yourself familiar with different steps that are taken in this particular situation. So per the playbook, what framework was used for the IR process? And it is the NIST. The NIST Incident Response Process. And that is it, guys. That is room number 4, phishing emails 4. We'll be back with phishing emails 5 fairly soon. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.